32 today across Major League Baseball. What does it mean to put on that number and the legacy that you're remembering today?
Yeah, we're just lucky to be able to wear it and honor a guy like Jackie Robinson who meant so much to our game. Great player, great person, and it's just cool that we're able to all come together and celebrate him on a day like today.
We talked to Pivetta in the clubhouse, and I know that he wasn't able to share anything about the MRI. Is there anything that you could share with us about the results and maybe where things stand now?
Yeah, Nick, obviously went through the medical process, getting the MRI, came back with the flexor strain. Disappointing. We didn't think it was going to be, that significant, but ended up being a flexor strain, and, he's going to rehab it and take some time off and then get it right.
I know it's probably early, but is there any sort of timeline, an idea on what the exact next steps are in terms of rehab?
Yeah, I think we're kind of discussing exactly what that looks like. He's definitely going to take some time off throwing, let it rest, let it heal, and then get back on the throwing program and strengthening program. So it's probably going to be more weeks and maybe months than it is just specific days. So he's going to take some time, but we feel pretty confident he's going to get back this year.
Is there any relief on maybe it not being more serious than that, I guess? Is there a concern that it could be?
I guess so. Yeah, it's relief that we feel like he can rehab it and come back. Yes, there's relief in that. I remember when I tore my flexor, his is not torn, his is straight. But when I tore one, and I didn't really know anything about the difference, told the doctor, I said, well, that's a good thing, it's not my ligament. And he said, well, we'll see about that. And he was right. It's it's very significant, and anytime you're dealing with the pitcher's elbow, there's always something going on. But I think Nick's in a good spot. He's ready to tackle this rehab, and I think, like I said, we feel good that he's going to make it back.
Craig, did they grade those out, like strain one, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3? Is there any way to give an idea of the severity of his particular strain?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the doctors probably can be able to do that, but I'm not an expert on reading MRIs and all that kind of stuff. But, we've consulted multiple doctors, and that we kind of came to the consensus that this is what it is, and he just needs a certain amount of time off, and then he can start throwing again and try to get him back.
It being weeks or months, I know we asked you about what you have in your rotation. How do you cover that with the guys that you have, knowing that Joe is also kind of a little bit of ways away?
Yeah, I mean, we got 5 good guys that are going to be in the rotation right now. So that's one way to do it. All those guys stay healthy and they keep pitching well. And then we've also got Griff coming, and Joe eventually hopefully coming, and Nick hopefully eventually coming back too. And then you never know. There's always people in the minor leagues that sneak through, have a great season, and they're ready to make their major league debut. And I know we've got a great farm system that'll be able to support us throughout the year.
Just a day for Fernando, kind of continuing your. Can you kind of go into? I know we've asked you a lot about your lineups and giving guys days off. The amount of success the guys on the bench have had, in your eyes, is that a product of guys having a really good bench, and or B, them being able to play as regularly as they have? Yeah,
I think all probably has some contributor to it. It obviously makes it a lot easier to give days off to some of our everyday players, because the bench players are playing so well and we feel good about their at-bats. I think when they play more often, their at-bats are probably a little bit better. It's definitely harder. Bryce has probably played the least out of all the guys on the bench, and it's just tougher to get an at-bat once every 5 days or once every 6 days. But if you're getting an at-bat every other day, or 2 out every 3, or 2 out every 4, it's hopefully a little easier, I think, to be comfortable in the box. So we're trying to manage all that together and piece it all together, see how it works out.
How did you come to this philosophy, of kind of wanting to play the long game with some of your stars? What convinced you that was the right approach?
Probably because I know that playing 162 games is a hard thing to do, and there's not that many guys that can do it, and then also sustain, the level of production that we want out of these guys, or hope that we can get out of these guys for a full season. And I think looking back in my past of watching how managers did it, Davey Johnson comes to mind of how he kind of did it this way, and he allowed the bench to be a big part of the team, and it helped team chemistry. It helped everybody feel like they had a say in us winning a lot of games that year. I saw it work out really well in that fashion, and felt like this was an opportunity to do the same thing with the bench that we have.
Craig, I know you're talking about faith in the guys you have on this roster and in the system, but how aggressive do you expect AJ Preller to be looking for some arms?
AJ and aggressive are synonyms. So, AJ's going to do his thing. He's already done his thing with this roster. He's put together a great roster, and he never stops thinking about it, never stops trying to improve it. And so that's why it's fun to work with AJ and be in the fight with him.
So Canning had a bullpen yesterday. How did he get out of it?
Great. Yeah, I think he's off to. I don't think he's here today. I think he's off to El Paso to make his next rehab start. So all full steam ahead.